Hey everyone, my name is Penny Zenker, and it's time to reset. This podcast goes beyond just navigating change. It's about new ways of thinking about how you can approach challenges, how you can shift your mindset when needed, create some space and grace for yourself so that you can rethink, recharge, and reprioritize when and where needed. Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Thank you for hitting play and sharing this next episode with me. It's time to reset. Hello and welcome to Take Back Time. My name is Penny Zenker and I'm your host. And on this show, we're looking for different angles, different ways, different approaches to help you to work smarter, to take back time. Now, we know that that's not really possible to take it back, but when we work smarter, then we can use our times in optimal ways that helps us to, in essence, take back our time, because then we are capturing more time back for ourselves because we're working smarter on doing things that we need to do for work or in other areas. So today, I'm excited to talk about sponsorships and partnerships and how that can be a way in your business to help you to work smarter. So Sheila G is with us today, and you'll notice she's got a little bit of an accent. Well, she moved here to the States from 1989 for a job in Boston. And, as we do, she figured she'd just stay a few years and then go back to Ireland. But 30 years later, she's still here. This happened to me too. I understand. She's got a husband, 2 children, and a handful of successful businesses under her belt. So she's here to stay, she said. She has an entrepreneurial spirit, which has led her to the world of marketing and consulting. And through her company, it's called Connected Sponsors, she helps event promoters to monetize their events by building longstanding relationships and partnerships with sponsoring companies. So she's going to share some of those tips and tricks with us. And welcome to the show, Sheila.
Penny, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate. No, sorry.
Yeah, I know there'll be a few things like that, I'm sure.
I'm sorry. I'm looking for the little differences. I love it. I love your accent. So
thank you. Thank you.
In a fun way, because I love it.
So where did you come from?
Well, actually,
stay.
I moved to Zurich, Switzerland, and I lived there for 16 years. And it was on this 6-month assignment that turned into 16 years, and husband, children, all that kind of stuff later, right?
Yeah.
Left with a few more bags than I.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited to have you here. And I really do love the topic of partnerships and sponsorships in a way to work smarter, because one of my mottos is always, how do we create a multiplier in the things that we're doing? How do we create leverage so that with the time that we spend, it can multiply itself? It can have multi-purpose in the way that we're working. And I find that partnerships and sponsorships are a fantastic area.
Yeah, it's funny you say leverage. It's one of my favorite words. Oh. I'm always trying to find something that I can call leverage, like a group of people or something. I love leveraging relationships. And sometimes it sounds kind of like a negative thing. I'm going to use this relationship, but it really isn't. But there's so much you can do together that would just take you so much time to do alone. And some people are money motivated, some people are time motivated. I've always been time motivated. It's like my time is so precious to me. So usually if I have a problem, I'll throw money at it, not time.
Well, true. I mean, money we can always make more of, right?
Yeah,
once
exactly.
time is gone, it's gone. Like you can invest it into relationships, for instance, and those can be profitable, but that's where you create the leverage, right? You can't recreate the time though.
Exactly.
I get it for sure. How did this become your thing?
Out as an entrepreneur when I had my first daughter. She's 25 now. And I really desperately didn't want to, again, time. I wanted to have time with her. I didn't want to be tied to a job, to a 9-to-5. So I started looking around for things to do and ended up starting a business that then led to another business that led to another business. I actually had 2 successful exits, which was awesome. And a little over 10 years ago, I was working with a woman. We had a business together. And at the time, she was being actively recruited by a big digital marketing company to go work for them. And when she did, they run a big marketing event every year that's like thousands of people go to it. And she asked me if I would come help her with the sponsorship aspect of it. So I did that, and it ended up that people saw what I was doing. They asked me if I could help them too. And it just organically kind of became this business that I hadn't really planned on. I was just kind of helping out a friend. And
Those are the best.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah,
Filling
exactly.
a need, and it becomes a need for many people.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's been fun. And then with COVID and everything shutting down, I kind of pivoted again and started creating products around it to teach other people to do what I do. Because the one thing I find is there's not many of me out there. So I'm constantly being asked and constantly having to turn down people because I just don't have the time or the bandwidth to fulfill all of these things. So I've started doing training courses and stuff as well. So my goal is to create a whole bunch of sponsor heroes that can go out and find you sponsors for your events and your podcasts and your newsletters or whatever else you need sponsorship for, and not do it myself.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
That's creating leverage, right? Teaching
Exactly.
other people to do it so other people can go out and do that as well. So
Exactly.
there's different people listening. There's entrepreneurs and people who are running their own businesses. There's people who are maybe in a corporate type of setting, right? They're all looking to take back their time. Let's start with partnerships in general, because partnerships can be suppliers that you work with. Like if you're in a corporation, it could be partnerships with clients, right? So I want people to expand their way of thinking to understand that partnerships don't just mean like another company that does the same thing that you do, that you're partnering with, or right. There's so many different types of partners.
So many different. Yeah, exactly. It's just, again, it's down to leveraging. Like if you have a goal, if you're trying to get somewhere, and if you can leverage those relationships to help you get there quicker, why not? The important thing in any of these is that it has to be win-win. Like everyone has to be getting something out of it, which most people will make sure that that happens. But why go it alone? Why just be the sole person out there pounding the pavement where you can take an easier path if you need to? There's no shame in that. Some people think that like working hard is like, there's some kind of merit to it, that it's, I'm proud. I put so much work into this. It's like, but what was your result? Because that's the only thing that really matters.
That's true. I'm going to repeat that for everybody who's listening. It's the result that matters. And if we burn ourselves out and don't even get the result, like that's just frustrating and annoying, right? And if there's a choice to work really hard and get the result, or just work a little bit and get the result, which we'd rather do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's important for people to remember that, is that we want to be results focused, not time focused. This is how much time I put into it. Who cares? It's really, what result did you get? And did you get the result that you intended?
Exactly.
So what's a tip that you could give that, like, how do I become a good partner? How do I seek partners, the right partners? And how do I become a good partner?
So it's all about what it is that your goal is, and then just kind of aligning the people that can help you with that. And again, you want to make sure that it's working for both people, that somehow the partnership is going to bring them something as well, because otherwise it's not going to really work out that well. Sometimes I think when you get a task, I know myself, when I get a task, I'm just like that kind of implementer. I want to get it done and I'll jump in and start doing it. It's just like, take the few minutes beforehand or the time beforehand to kind of map it out, figure out what are the different steps you need to take. And do you personally need to take all those steps, or are these steps that can be taken by somebody else, or somebody can maybe facilitate you meeting somebody else or having somebody else do it, or whatever that's going to be. So just kind of try and take a strategic high level look at what you're doing before you dive into the actual work of it. Gary Vee, he always talks about the clouds and the dirt. So the dirt is we're in it, we're doing it. The clouds is we're kind of way up above, kind of looking at the whole project. So like spend some time in both of those places and put in the clouds first and figure it out, and then get down and do what you need to do.
For sure. I'm all about that too. Like my whole thing is, how do we think, act, and be more strategic in the way that we do things? And that means be up in the clouds to look at it from.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like your 30,000 foot view of the world. For
sure. So I think what strikes me about that, when you're at that 30,000 foot view, it's making sure that what I heard you say was to think about, like, what is it that's going to be a win for this partner?
Yep.
So if you pre-think that, you can know this one isn't a good partner because I don't really see what the big advantage is for them. So when you approach somebody, you'll be able to, when you know what is the win for them, then you'll be able to better discuss it, better open up those opportunities, because you're both seeing that there's an advantage. So I think that does take some time to think about it and pick the right partners, right, that have that advantage, that complement you.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes as well, the partner may not see it either. Like, I mean, you may be coming to them with this thing and then they're like, oh, wow, I never even thought of it. So that's bringing value right in there. Just, you're kind of giving them a different point of view. that they hadn't thought about for their business. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
So how does one approach like, okay, I've identified this potential partner, right? So let's say it's somebody who's got a big list, right? So there's people who want to leverage other people's audiences, right? That's great use of a partner. So let's say I have something, I see that that person could be a good fit for me, and I've identified what the value that I'm going to offer them is. I know what the value that comes to me. How do I approach that person or that company?
Yeah, so I'd start getting involved with what they're doing, kind of look at what are they doing right now? What are they trying to achieve? If there's a way for you to help that, if there's a way to kind of be discovered by them, even though you're making yourself discoverable, it's going to be so much easier than if you kind of knock on the door and cold call them and annoy them and eventually they take a call. So look at what they're doing right now. Look at if there's ways to kind of advise them and stuff like that, and then put that out in front of them. So again, you want to take it from the point of view of what's in it for them, not what's in it for yourself. So the more you can be of value, they're just going to look at you differently than if you're just another person pitching something that you're trying to achieve. So I think that's it. Getting into a conversation with them, maybe showing up at the places where you know they're going to be. I've done that before. It's like, oh, I just happen to be at the same place as you are. That's so...
What a coincidence.
Yeah. It must be fated. Right. Yeah. So it's just kind of, again, kind of thinking outside the box a little bit. Because I see sometimes people will do it, but it's just all about them. Let me tell you about me. Let me tell you about my company. This is what I need. This is what I need you to do, which is like an awful line to tell anyone.
Right.
You know?
Okay, I'll get right on that. Like,
yeah, exactly. So just go with that kind of servant's heart first and create the relationship. It may not always work, but a good amount of the time it is. People are going to recognize that. They're going to recognize that you're creating value for them before you've even really become partners or done anything.
I think one of the things that I've seen is that if people are come on too strong, you have to be genuine. People
it's icky.
It is. It's icky. Yeah. And it feels like desperate.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
And your guard goes up. You're just like, oh, what's their angle? And you're trying to figure out what their angle is rather than what they're actually saying to you. So I try and go into things pretty chill, like with no real big expectations. If it works out, it will work out. It's like, I'm not desperate. If this doesn't work out, I have somebody else to go to. My whole business doesn't revolve around getting you to be my partner type of thing. Right. So yeah.
Put all your eggs in one basket. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Or multiple partners that could be a good fit and whatnot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Any other tips and tricks or lessons that you've learned around creating successful partnerships?
The other thing is setting expectations. So you want to make sure that you're very, very clear up front, that they're very clear, that expectations are set. You don't want to be halfway through it and they're like, I thought that this was the way it was going to be, which it couldn't be further from the truth. So setting the expectations as well, because partnerships can be tough. But I think if we set expectations of what we're looking for, what they're looking for, what will be a win for both of us, what's the point when we say this isn't working out and we can just kind of part and still be friends type of thing. So
awesome. That is so important because expectations are everything in any relationship. Let's just chunk it up, not just to partnerships, but like people that you work with, just general, your team partnerships, or if we look at those like that, is setting expectations is so important. And if you start to feel a little frustrated or angry, basically what it means is an expectation isn't being met, right?
Exactly.
It's what I found. So it's also good if we can recognize it like that it's just an expectation that's not being met and get to the root. What was the expectation? What's not being met? So you can have a constructive conversation about it as well.
And it can go either way as well. Like, your partner can suddenly become distant and kind of annoyed as well. And you're kind of like, what's going on here? I don't understand. So yeah.
Right. That's a way to approach it. Right.
Right. Exactly.
So let's switch to sponsorships a little bit. I think it's a different thing, right?
It is a different thing, but like when the sponsorship relationship is done properly, it almost does become a strategic partnership as well, because sponsors are usually looking to get the word out about whatever it is that they're doing, their service. So it's kind of like a Venn diagram type of thing with three people. So you've got your audience, you've got you, and you've got the sponsor, and everyone wants to be winning. So I use the example a lot of kind of like if you go to a course or you go to some sort of a conference and you have sponsors kind of out in the hallway, you're in the conference, you're teaching the people whatever it is that they're coming to learn. The sponsors are going to be the resources that they need to do the thing that you're teaching them. The sponsors are winning because they're getting new clients. You're winning because you're getting sponsorship dollars and giving value to your people. And your people are winning because they have all these resources to go to. So again, you want to kind of like think of that on a higher level and curate it to make sure it's going to be something that's going to be sustainable and is going to benefit everyone.
So are you talking about sort of like event sponsors, like that type of thing?
Yeah. So event sponsors, like if you had a sponsor for your podcast, sponsorship is such a broad, wide range of things. But even if you're a company and you just want like a strategic partnership with somebody or a sponsorship, it's anywhere really where you're having somebody pay you for access to something that you have within your business. And it's usually an audience.
Mm-hmm. Could be a physical audience. It could be a list of an audience, right?
Right. Yeah.
A lot of different forms.
Different forms. Exactly. Yep.
And I'm in the event space, right? I do a lot of public speaking and events. And so sometimes people are like, I wish we could afford you. And I was like, well, maybe you could get a sponsor.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like people don't think about that and creating sort of value for the sponsor. Like, okay, well, who's in the audience that sponsor might be interested in having access to and being able to promote? Hey, you've got 1,000 people that are coming, even though they're not paying you. The sponsor might want to have access to them. So whatever it is, it could be a bank, it could be an app, it could be a ton of different types of organizations that would just love to have
that access,
that target audience and be willing to pay something for it.
Exactly. And sometimes when I work with them, especially in events as well, they think like in terms of like, I'll have the sponsor this one thing. And it's like, no, the sponsor doesn't care what the one thing is they're sponsoring. They're looking for the access. So just put your sponsorship in a pool and then you can get your keynote speaker or you can get your big kind of networking event that you're going to do at night and have food and drinks at it or whatever it is that you want to do to make your event better, rather than just that this is just going to pay for penny or whatever.
Right. It doesn't have to be single. That only narrows.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
To think more broadly, more big picture.
Yeah. That's it.
What are some other tips like that people don't know, or the biggest mistakes that people make when they're looking for sponsors?
I think the big mistakes they make is they think that sponsorship is just this big thing. And if they're going to get a sponsor, it's going to be like an American Express or Marriott Hotel or something like that. And they're not looking at like, one of the things I do is when I first started my first business, going back a bit, I joined an organization called BNI, Business Network International. It's a referral company. I'm sure a lot of your guests know about it. And one of the things in there when we were recruiting people to grow the chapter is there was a thing called follow your checkbook. So I actually took this into my sponsorship. So the first thing when I'm sitting down with a client who is looking for sponsors for whatever, especially if they do what they teach, I say, so what are you spending your money on every month? Like what software are you using? What merchant account are you using? How do you send your emails? Like all this kind of stuff. Because those are great low-hanging fruit sponsors. And they may not be this like super huge company that everyone knows. But the important thing is that they're probably a company that your audience knows or wants to know. So it doesn't have to be this big, like Coca-Cola is probably not going to come sponsor your 300-person event. And that's okay because it's not a good sponsor anyway for you. So just kind of think in terms of what you have versus like thinking it's this kind of big thing. And the beauty with sponsorship is like you can make up the rules as you go. It's not like this is the way we do sponsorship and there's no other way to do it. You can make it work for you.
Absolutely. And I like that, make up the rules as you go along. Different people listening, we're just trying to like spark your creativity.
Right. Yeah.
Examples. So like I was speaking to somebody recently and I was like, well, if you do get a sponsor, I have a podcast. Yeah. So I'd be happy to run a commercial for them. So I think the thing that you said was use what you have, right? Yeah. Is recognize who are the players who are going to be, let's say, at this event and how could they contribute? Probably it doesn't cost them anything and they can do something to contribute that would enable you to add more value to the sponsors, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
How do you get creative in this whole process?
Yeah. Actually, I was on the phone with a friend of mine yesterday who's a realtor and she gets a lot of her leads from Zillow. So she does a lot of advertising with them. And she told me the number that she spends on advertising. It's a big amount a month, but she's making $2 or $3 per dollar she's spending. So she's okay with it. And then recently she found out that you can have someone sponsor you on Zillow. So she has a mortgage company that are sponsoring her and kind of taking up half that chunk of change every month. Fantastic. Which is amazing, and now they're happy. They're getting leads of people buying houses, which is exactly what they want. So it really does work. And in terms of what sponsors want as well, like sometimes it's you're a speaker, you're in a green room beforehand. Someone might want to just like have a photograph with you and meet you. I actually had a sponsor who was like, oh my God, so-and-so is the keynote speaker. I would totally do the platinum packet if I could meet that person. And I was like, oh
Right.
yeah, I can do
The
that.
VIP
That's
package.
yeah, exactly. And that's free. Well, obviously they paid you to be there, but I mean, overall, that's a very small ask. And it was a huge give for him. That was the thing that kind of brought him over the edge for
And it's
sponsoring the top
Not
packet.
always what you think too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Something that is emotionally motivated, maybe, right?
Right. Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
I've read all that person's books and I just really want to meet them. So I'd be willing to do it. Seems like a good deal. But then if you add that on top, it's that emotional thing that says, okay, I really want that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it is more often than not, it is that. Like, I mean, we're all buyers by emotion anyway. We use the logic afterwards to back up our decision, but it's like, oh my God, I want to drive a Formula One car. So I'm totally going to sponsor this thing because that's part of it, you know?
Absolutely. I was just thinking when it goes beyond just picture taking, right? It could be a dinner with that person. It could
yeah. No, he just wanted to go in the green room and meet the person. And for him, that was a defining moment. And it was just like the biggest deal. And he spent a lot of money for that platinum sponsorship just to be able to do that.
Fantastic. Great idea.
So yeah, think outside the box. There's no set rules. Think outside the box.
So is there anything else? I think we've covered sort of those two at a high level to give people a taste of some of your experience, some of the tips and tricks. Is there anything that I didn't ask yet that you're thinking is important to share with the audience?
If they want, I do have like a small 15-minute training that they could do for free if they wanted to do that. It's all around that follow your checkbook thing. But what it is, it's designed to be like to stimulate your brain to think of things like sponsors and potential sponsors. As you go through and answer the questions, you start making a list, and that list then goes to another list because you think of one company and you're like, oh, but these other companies are similar to that as well. So if they want to get that, I can give you the link in your show notes or whatever.
Absolutely. We'll have that in the show notes. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I was just thinking a lot of people might be saying, oh, well, this is just really mostly for entrepreneurs and event planners or things like that. But I could see ways to do this in corporate as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And there'd be opportunities within your leadership team if you wanted to have an event or you wanted to give some sort of a giveaway away to the group, right?
Exactly. Shared resources. There's so many ways it's just limitless. It really is.
Well, before we jump off today, what's the most unusual sort of creative idea that you've seen somebody put together to make a sponsorship work?
I know somebody who was involved with English guy who just went up to space.
Oh, Richard Branson?
Richard Branson, yeah, who's very involved with him. So there was like a lot of kind of sponsorship around that when he went up in the space thing and people that were there and stuff like that. So that's what I call ego sponsorship, but they're there. And the thing as well for like, if you're kind of in that world where you're creating content and everything, that's worth paying for, to have those pictures and to have that story and all the rest of it. So again, it's like, there are no rules with this. It really is limitless.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for sharing, for our discussion today, and for offering that free training for people.
Sure, no problem.
And thank you all for being here. I hope you took away one tip or creative idea that you can use to be a better partner, to find better partners, or to sponsor something that you would have otherwise thought not possible for you. So this is a way that you can take back time by utilizing the resources that you have available to you, even if you hadn't thought they were available to you. Make them available to you, right? So thank you all. My name is Penny Zanker, and this is Take Back Time. We'll see you in the next episode. Hey, thank you for spending this time with me. It really means a lot. If you're feeling a little off, distracted, overwhelmed, stuck, or just out of sync, remember that's your signal to reset. And that's all it takes, just recognizing one reset moment at a time. So stay tuned for more tips, tools, tricks, stories, strategies, all here on Time to Reset. We'll see you in the next episode.